We continue to explore life in communities all around San Diego. This week, we're venturing to North County.
That's where 10 News anchor Jim Patton takes us on a historic journey of a city named for the water that was found there, Carlsbad.
We moved here as a beach community.
There's that railroad that got things started. Still going by.
The sound of a train right on cue for a tour of this special home at Beach and Carlsbad Boulevards in Carlsbad.
The trains came through in the mid-1880s, about 1883, and that enabled people to start building wood structures. Prior to that, the ranch houses were predominantly made out of adobe.
Susan Gutierrez is president of the Carlsbad Historical Society, which resides in the Shipley-Magee house, built on this spot in 1887.
We had one family who lived here from the 1890s to the mid-1970s, so we feel free to interpret a broad time period.
In fact, the story told in this home goes back to the early 1880s when 4 investors, the town founders, bought up 400 acres of open land that included a prized well dug by local farmer Captain John A. Frazier.
You have to go through a lot of soil, rock, clay to sink a well.
But dig he did, and some 500 feet down, Frazier discovered 2 artesian springs, alkaline water of such superior taste, many believed it had healing powers. And it reminded the founders of another world-renowned water source in Eastern Europe.
They chose that name Carlsbad based on water that was found close to the train tracks that had a similar properties to Carlsbad, spelled with a K, in what is now Czechoslovakia.
In the 1880s, Carlsbad, California grew in fame with its own water source, spurring construction of a hotel and spa. But the dream nearly dried up with years of drought.
1890 to 1906, we're pretty much dead in the water, so to speak.
While many moved out during the drought years, that's when the Shipley family moved in.
And this was in part because Mr. Shipley had very fragile health, and he wanted to live in a place that was beneficial for his health.
Now his former home is named for his daughter Florence, who bequeathed it to the city in 1974. Each room dedicated to a different page of Carlsbad history, with lots of personal touches.
She actually wore the clothing that we're looking at here?
Yes, all of these are Florence's items.
Intricate sewing projects and handwritten family letters among the treasures. Look at the penmanship. Artful. The subject matter? Practical. As Florence writes her mother about the need for new driving gloves, likely to drive this one-horse buggy in the backyard barn.
Herman, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And then Susan's husband, Herman, showed me this.
It's almost like a plaster, isn't it?
Yeah, this is like a fiberglass, like a surfboard.
Say hello to one of the twin chickens that used to adorn the entrance to the nearby Twin Inns restaurant, run by the Kettner family from 1919 to the mid-1980s. The registry speaks to its fame. Note the signatures of Groucho Marx, Joan Crawford, and Clark Gable.
While Carlsbad has strong roots back to the 1800s, consider the Twin Inns built in 1887. It didn't officially become a city until 1952.
Our Chamber of Commerce had always been very strong. And when the county didn't do things for us before we were a city, the Chamber provided for that.
But the need for better fire protection and more water eventually convinced the community to incorporate.
They knew that in order to grow, they had to be able to float bonds to connect to the new Colorado River water.
And today, the story of Carlsbad continues to be closely tied to water. The city's desalination plant providing millions of gallons to the entire region every day.
Water is absolutely essential for us as a community to live and also as a community to develop and go forward.
In Carlsbad, Jim Patton, 10 News.
Now, the Carlsbad Historical Society at the Shipley-Magee House has a lot more to tell about the history of the city and this part of California. You can see it for yourself every Friday through Sunday. And we are exploring life in Carlsbad all week long on air throughout the day. You can also find those Carlsbad stories and more on our website, 10news.com.